Welcome to the Christian Dad Podcast, your place for encouragement and practical tips on how to be a great dad. My name is James Pelican. I have a Master's of Divinity, an MBA, and over 4,000 hours of individualized coaching experience. And I also have a tremendous passion to help dads. Please, if you'd like to be a part of the show, give me a call at 619-483-1530. Again, 619-483-1530. Let's jump into today's content. I want to thank everyone for their prayers and reaching out to me and my family. We felt your love and your support. It's been a big deal over the last month as my dad passed away at the age of 92. So from the bottom of my heart, a big thank you. I thought it would be appropriate just to give a tribute to my dad's legacy. And I just want to share this with you just so you kind of scratch your head and think like, what kind of legacy am I leaving for my family? And, as you go through death, and all of us have gone through it at one time or another, but it kind of makes you reflect upon life and what's important in life. And this experience for me has been really very powerful. So I just want to share 3 things with you that I've learned from my dad over the years. The first one was my dad was a hard worker. I mean, he was a really hard worker. In, after the war, World War II, the schools were flooded with GIs. The GI Bill was out, and that was guaranteed money, and the schools wanted to work with the GIs because it was basically money in the bank. Well, my dad didn't come from money in the bank. He graduated from St. John's and with biology and chemistry with the aspirations of becoming an ophthalmologist, and the bottom line is he couldn't get into an American school. Well, there was an opportunity that presented itself in Rome. Now, his mom and dad spoke Italian. They argued in Italian. One time, as an aside, I asked my dad, I said, "Daddy, they say that the one who yells the loudest wins the Italian argument. Is it true?" And my dad said, "Yeah." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "I won quite a few, James." But anyway, my dad went to Rome, went there for 6 years. 6 years, not knowing the language the best, but kind of figuring things out. And then he came back, passed his boards, became an ophthalmologist, became a diplomat of ophthalmology, was the president of Flushing Medical Hospital. And his work ethic really shone. And it's really funny to me because myself and my siblings, we all work hard. We enjoy work. And it's kind of like me just like watching my dad. I remember one time when it was a series of events, but I was off from school and my dad's secretary called in sick and my mom we couldn't get a secretary. So I was like, well, I'll help you out. And my dad looked at me and said, "You'll help me out?" I said, "Yeah, I can answer the phones." So the next thing you know, we're going to Flushing at 165th Street, Northern Boulevard. And we would go there and every day, early in the morning, super early. And I remember the very first thing my dad did when he got out of the car, he picked up all the trash around the building. Every single day. And I watched him. Next day, the same exact thing happened. I watched him. The third day, I actually got out of the car and started helping him pick up some trash. Really sharp here. But anyway, it's just kind of a nice testimony to my dad's work ethic and how it has passed on to me. And the beautiful thing about this is, and I don't understand this, but I think it's part of this legacy that has been going on for, generation to generation. Pelicans are hard workers. Like my kids, I never have to ask them. You can ask any of them. I never ask them, "Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework?" I don't ask them. I just don't ask them. They get it done. They get it done. My son was valedictorian. My girls are all A+ students. I mean, they're really sharp. But this work ethic is like passed on through the legacy. It's really cool. The second thing that I think is noteworthy about my dad, and there's so many, is that my dad never met a stranger. And there's an old Chinese proverb that says, if you don't smile, don't open a shop. If you can't smile, don't open up a shop. My dad loved to smile. He loved to make friends with the unfriendly, in a sense, the marginalized. He liked to make friends with the people that were on minimum wage. You're a clerk, he's going to engage you in conversation. He used to do this all the time, talking to this guy with big muscles. My dad was a short, squatty guy. And he would ask them, he would say, "Do you want to have an arm wrestle?" And every single time the guy would say, "No, I don't want to have an arm wrestle." And with this, my dad would say, "I thought so." And then And then later on, my dad would go on and say and laugh. And then before you know it, they're having a conversation. They're talking about life. They're talking about the family, their travels, where their kids are going to school. My dad never met a stranger. He never, and I love that aspect of him, how he was very, very generous, and he never was haughty about his position. Francis of Assisi said it so well when he said, preach the gospel always and sometimes use words. The things that we have observed, like some things are taught and some things are caught. Like I caught a lot of this stuff as a boy. I did. And I knew something was really different about my life in third grade. In third grade, my next door neighbor, Peter, got a television set. This is a big deal. This was over 40 years ago. He got a television set in his bedroom. I mean, this is big, huge. You know what I got? I got a bookshelf. That's right. How many of you guys got a custom-made bookshelf from your dad in your bedrooms? I don't think very many of you. My dad had a love for books. And not only did I get a bookshelf, all my siblings got bookshelves. We all did. We all got our custom-made bookshelves in our rooms. My dad had this love for knowledge that was awesome. As a matter of fact, I wrote a poem for him when I was in 8th grade, and it goes something like this. Daddy, Daddy, he is Big D, knowledge and facts about history. Ask him a question or two, and he will see what he can do. Dad, I got a question, come and look. Wait 1 second, son. I think I have a book. My dad was notorious for leaving the dinner table and running and getting a book in the middle of the conversation to show us, a few paragraphs of things that he previously read. We had this enormous library of books in the downstairs. So my dad was not just a father to me. Of course, he was my father, but he was a teacher. And one of the things that I discovered later in life is how he taught me through his patience and long suffering. My dad never, ever faulted me for dropping a glass. Never. For breaking something. Never, ever. He was fully aware that love covers a multitude of sins, and part of the human condition is making mistakes. He never, ever faulted me for being butterfingers, if you will. Never, ever rubbed my face in my failures. I mean, never, ever. And it's a beautiful thing. I've never done this with my kids either. It's just part of the legacy that's there. And my dad taught me this lesson of long suffering in many, many ways. One time I left the moonroof open on a brand new car in Virginia, and it rained like cats and dogs. And my dad was going to take me out to breakfast the next day, and the cup holders were filled to the brim with water. And my dad said, "Didn't you shut the moonroof?" And it was very apparent that I didn't. And we both got out rags. He didn't make a big to-do about it. And we basically dried out the car. Never forgot it because he was very gracious about this. I saw this graciousness. Well, I shouldn't say I saw the graciousness. I learned this lesson at a very deep level that love suffers long. And my dad demonstrated this to me all my life, but especially in the last week of his life. I was scheduled to come to Virginia where mom and dad were. Mom said, "Don't come. I got COVID, and dad's got COVID too." Keep in mind, this is 2022 now. Anyway, I came. Absolutely, I was coming. So I was there, and as I'm feeding my dad asks me, "Oh, why are you feeding me?" I said, "Daddy, you used to feed me when I was a little kid, and I figured it was paybacks." And with this, he kind of laughed. He went, "Huh." And then it dawned on me that my dad, in the very last moments of his life, taught me the greatest lesson of all. And that is that love is long suffering. It's a beautiful, beautiful legacy that we can pass on to our kids. Again, preach the gospel always and sometimes use words. I don't know why I caught this while I was there, but I realized that he was teaching me again. He was teaching me that as I was feeding him, I was learning long suffering. I didn't feel like feeding him. I didn't feel like being there. I didn't feel like shaving him. But through this long suffering, it's a wonderful, wonderful gift that we can give to those around us. So I pray that you would be inspired by my dad's legacy. And I want to encourage you, whether you realize it or not, you're leaving a legacy as well. Make it a positive one. God bless you, and thank you again for all your prayers.